Do you want to be in the video? Okay, so I had said that I would do a follow-up video talking about some of the traits that I personally experience, and that's what this is. I guess a good place to start would be with childhood. My mother always said that I was a perfect baby. That was just like, she called me her sunshine. I was a perfect baby. And then like the more that I looked into things and started like asking my mom about what I was like as a child, she was like, oh yeah, you were great. Like I could wake up in the morning and you would wake up and you'd be in your crib and you wouldn't call for me for like, you would just sit there for hours. And I was like, oh, I mean, like, that's really convenient when you're busy and you don't want a baby to cry, but it's also like a really normal thing for like babies to want their parents and stuff. So that's fun. As a kid, I don't really like know if there were a ton of sensory things. We had like a drawer full of like mittens and warm clothes, and like I would just pull open the mitten drawer and sit in it, and then I would just like put on all of the mittens and stuff. I have like pictures of me like backpacks. They were like, we had these backpacks that I used to wear all the time. And I just like liked to wear them. And so there's like pictures of me sleeping with like mittens and backpacks on, because like that's what I did. A lot of kids, I guess, like often take their clothes off because of sensory stuff. I wanted them on, all of them, all the time. So that's interesting. No language or developmental delays. I was a super finicky kid as far as like throwing up, and I always had like stomach aches, and we had to go to like all these doctors, which is not on the diagnostic criteria, but like anecdotally, I guess is a very common thing. In addition to that, I was so clumsy. And I used to just like fall over all the time, and I would like turn the corner too quickly and like smash into corners and walls, and I fell up and down the stairs. And my mother was like actually so worried about it that she thought there was like something legitimately wrong with me. In addition to that, like I used to get like, I really like to read, and I used to get like so focused on reading that if my mom talked to me, I didn't respond or didn't hear or anything. So there were like a lot of times where I would just get like fixated on something and then like not respond to people talking to me. And so she was like, maybe it's like a hearing balance problem. I remember doing all this like hearing tests, and then like nothing came of it. And then I got a CAT scan because like she was legitimately worried that I had a brain tumor or something. That's how clumsy I was. That's a fun fact. Other fun facts. As far as special interests go, I think obviously like boys are more into like trains and fire trucks. I think even like neurotypical boys. I loved animals, but like not like, oh, I do actually really like horses, but not like puppies and kittens and like unicorns. I remember I discovered the word Wolverine in an encyclopedia when I was like 7, and read everything about Wolverines and just thought they were the best animal. And I did like projects on them in class. It was like, what do you want to do about? And I was like, Wolverines, and like everything about them. And ferrets are actually like in like a similar, they're all mustelids, Wolverines too. And so my like interest in Wolverines then like intensely went into like other animals and all the animals they're related to, and that like quickly turned into obsession with ferrets. And you'll notice that that's not something that has stopped really. Even just like telling people facts that they don't want to know is like every time somebody's like, oh, what's something ferrets are rodent? And I'm like, I have this like speech that just comes out all the time of like, actually. And so all of my close friends can tell you all about ferrets, not by choice. And it was horses, I think, as I got like a little bit older. And I feel like every little girl is obsessed with horses, so it's like normal. But like I managed to like get a job, kind of a volunteer position, when I was like 13, and just would like sit in the barn and be so happy. I would need to sit me there all day. I would love it. And then that sort of like turned into a more working position. I did get bullied at work, but I don't know if it really counts as bullying, because I didn't care because I was just so happy that there were horses around, and I was learning things about horses that like literally the girls being like, hey, we don't like you today, you can't be our friend, like making like stupid comments about that all the time, and like not inviting me to like, oh, we're all going for lunch except for you. And I was just like, oh, that's fine, I'm gonna stay at the bar. I didn't care. I was just, the horses, that was enough for me. So that's, I guess, really convenient. Still be like just like weird routine stuff is like I always eat my food in a specific order. I still do it. A lot of stress about like the order in which I eat food. I hate to have like unevenness, and so like even if one's hand's just like a little bit wet, I'll like completely soak both hands and then like dry them both so that it's like a normal even amount of wet and dry and then like almost dry. Oh, as far as like stimming goes, I don't know if I did anything as a kid. As a kid, I was like growing up, I was a chewer and I just used to chew on everything. And so like I guess that counts as a stim. I like pencil caps, like I used to destroy pencils, I used to destroy pen lids, like crack the plastic. I cannot count the number of times I chewed on a pen and ended up with a mouthful of ink. Like it was like you didn't just chew on the pen a little bit, it was like I would break them and then like multiple times ended up being like I had to go to the bathroom because I would like crack the pen and I would just like get ink in my mouth. Gross. Like anytime I had something with a straw, I would like methodically like chew the straw up until it was like a tiny little ball. And often people like were like, oh, do you have any more gum? And I was like, this isn't gum, this is a straw. And they were like, oh, that's gross. But like gum doesn't have the same kind of like resistance that a straw does. Different, not as pleasant to chew. I don't know that I was ever like super sensitive to noises, but now that I have my noise canceling headphones, they're like changing my life. Because like I don't think I ever realized like how draining it is to like process so many different things, and when you like can take a lot of that ambient noise away, I'm just like, oh, suddenly like I thought being in this place made me anxious. Turns out if you take out the noise, it's not so bad. Actually, I probably should have known that noises bother me, because like one of the things that I've always done since I was like a little kid was like to cover my ears when I just like wanted to calm down or whatever, or like was just like by myself. I covered my ears a lot, and I remember being like super ashamed of it and like knowing that it was weird. I like had a dream that like a neighbor had seen me covering my ears, because I do it still when I'm in the bathroom especially, and she was like, and I was like, oh no, she's gonna tell people that I like cover my ears when I go to the bathroom, which I just thought was like super strange. But I was like it's something that's persisted. Things like when I was trying to sleep, like the sound of my own heartbeat used to drive me nuts. I'd be like, Mom, I can't sleep. And she'd be like, oh, what is that? And I'd be like, my heartbeat is too loud. Like I can hear it in my ears and it's so awful. And I was just like, couldn't sleep because of it. I was like super weird about touching. I remember like I did get made fun of in junior high because like as a 13-year-old girl, like girls are like, oh, we're gonna hug each other every time we see you. And I was just like, please don't touch me. And like now I'm a lot better. I just like firm touch instead of light touch, which I think is fine. Like going through school, like I would think I was like, most of my teachers liked me because I was like very, very polite and very honest and like very direct about things. And but I would just like do weird things. I used to just like get up out of the classroom and like leave. Like if I didn't want to be there, I would just be like, oh, I'm gonna go now. And like I wouldn't say anything. I just like get up and leave. And then it'd be like, where are you going? And I'd be like, to the bathroom, and then keep walking. And it was like, I don't think anybody of my teachers like really knew what to do with me, because like I was clearly not intentionally being disrespectful. Like homework, it's like, oh, did you do your homework? I'm like, no. It's like, why didn't? I was like, no, I didn't really feel like it. And teachers would just be like, what is like, what kind of student is just like, I didn't do the thing. And like that's just like, I was just like so honest and didn't even I was like, why would I lie about that? So those are some of the traits I taught for a really long time. I covered like half of the things on the sheet that I wrote. So for all of you good old internet diagnosers, it's not the whole story. It's probably never going to be. And this is probably going to be choppy because it's the internet. So this is Toby. Special interest ground zero. Toby. Second only to my love of backpacks and mittens. Bye.